How we doing, boys and girls? Manthieus here, and welcome back to the first in a series of which I think I'm calling this Project Pet. Time will tell. Let's find out what this actually ends up being called long term, but I'm going with Project Pet. Project Pet is going to be a new little challenge I've set myself to basically try and make a bunch of gold by going multi-realm with some flipping, and we're going to focus, hence the name, on pets. Why pets though? Well, pets is one of those markets that I tend to feel is proven to be relatively stable, relatively evergreen, and remarkably scalable. Pets tend to be one of the big four collectible items, you know, pets, mounts, toys, and transmog. They tend to be the four items that people like to fill their collection up with. There's the advantage that most pets look kind of unique. There are a couple of reskins and whatever, but most pets look sort of unique. Pets, not only are they collector's items, there's also the pet battling mini game. So there's some crossover there. People want to buy the pets for different reasons. Now, to take it one step back from this challenge, one of my big personal goals for Shadowlands was to expand my goal-making adventures onto more than just the one realm I play. It doesn't matter which realm you play on, you get to the point where you realise that, well, there is only so many people on your realm, and you look at all of the other realms and you realise, well, there's tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of players playing on those. Can I do something with that? So one of my goals for Shadowlands was quite simple. I wanted to expand a little bit further than just the two realms I currently play on. We did a little mini series in the past which we called I think we called that one Project Draenor. Maybe I need to work on my creative titling here. We'll see. But Project Draenor was all about starting brand new on a brand new server, leveling up some characters, picking the professions, and going from there and trying to make a bunch of gold. We did that relatively successfully. It only ended up being a little mini series of about 3 or 4 parts, if I remember correctly, as the process was quite straightforward. Level up your characters, get a bit of starting gold, which we did through some farming, level up some professions, and we ended up dipping our toe into legendaries and made 1 million gold pretty quickly and easily on there. This challenge is going to be a little bit different. Now, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for anybody that wants to follow along with it, mainly because my ultimate goal for this is to spread out onto as many realms as I see necessary, but to just very simply make 10 million gold profit. That's my only challenge with this, for the purpose of the video series anyway. If we do get there, and we get there in a reasonable time, and it wasn't too difficult to achieve, then I'm obviously going to just continue it. I will continue doing it, but whether we continue the video series or not, we'll see in the future. 10 million gold. 10 million gold is my aim. 10 million gold in profit. Now, that's not like sales. I'm not going to be farming these pets. I'm going to be buying them, and I'm going to be flipping them. I'm going to be looking to buy the pets on whichever realms I have gold on. As time goes on, we'll probably end up with a little bit of gold on a whole bunch of different realms, meaning we should be able to go shopping and should be able to buy the pets at the cheapest price, or as close to the cheapest price as possible. And the one big factor to why we chose pets is because they're account bound by default. When you learn a pet and it goes into your pet journal, you can then cage that pet up again on any character on any realm. This means, unlike nearly any other item in the game, you can buy something on one realm and then instantly list it for sale on another realm. And that's what we're going to be taking advantage of here. We're going to be taking advantage of that some pets are going to be remarkably cheaper on some realms than they're listed for on others. And hopefully, within doing that little bit of arbitrage, that little bit of shuffling around, we should be able to make our profits from there. That, at least, is the plan. So, how do we set this up? How do we start this? How did I get going with this? I'll give you a little bit of a heads up. I have actually already been doing this for a couple of weeks. Those of you that follow over on the stream will have seen this. And I should also probably say at this point, I know we're already a few minutes into the video, but my patrons out there, my patrons, the boys and girls that help support the channel, firstly, big shout out to you. Thank you very, very much. If you're interested in becoming a patron and supporting the channel, there's a link in the description down below. But for my patrons out there, I will do my best to try and provide you with some extra resources if you want to try and replicate this yourself. things like my TSM shopping strings and some groups that I'll end up having set up. Now, I don't have much for you at the moment because this is still very early days and I'm still trying to get to grips with it myself. But as time goes on, if you happen to be a patron of mine, I will make sure that you get first dibs on any of the extra bonus goodies you may need to get up and running with this. What did we need to do first, though? We needed to make a bunch of characters. The first thing we had to do was very simple. We had to make a whole load of characters and a whole bunch of different realms, which in theory sounds pretty straightforward. But the question then very quickly became, is which servers do we go to? I have decided, you can see from this list, that I've decided to try and target where most of the players are, at least to begin with. Most players, there's the 80-20 rule that most players play on the top 20% of realms. We did some maths, we did some counting up, and we realised that in the EU, there's a little over 90 separate realms. Now, of course, some of them are connected all together, but there's about 90 auction houses in total. So if we want to try and spread ourselves as far and wide as possible, our ultimate goal will probably be to have a character and have the ability to not only buy but also possibly sell pets on all of those 90 realms. But going straight in with 90, I thought was maybe a touch too ambitious. So we started off with what I thought was a modest 25 servers. Turns out that a modest 25 servers is not really as modest, as I very, very quickly found that I had nowhere near enough pets to even start selling anything on half of the realms. But the characters are there, the characters are made all the same. We cherry-picked the full pop servers and the high population servers. If I filter this by population size, you can see that we now have a character on nearly all of the full pop servers. Dentag is actually connected to Taran Mill, which is why we didn't need a second one there. We have a character on nearly all of the full pop servers. I've also gone as far as to pick some of the foreign servers as well. The German, French, and Spanish servers I have attempted to do the same. In total, we've got a presence now on 25 different realms, although that presence is by no means strong in any way, shape, or form. How was I doing it, though? I was very quickly able to make characters, and I was picking just level 10s. I was picking level 10s, I was picking the allied races, and although it wasn't really necessary, looking back in this in hindsight, I probably should have just made all of them be goblins or something. But what I chose to do was just pick a character of the dominant faction on that server. Now, we used Raider.io. I wonder if I've still got the website open. We used Raider.io to try and work out exactly which realms had which population on and what was the dominant side. If you just go to Raider.io and then realms in the EU, you can very quickly and easily see which are the servers that have all of the players on. So these are the ones I focused on first. I made a Horde character on Draenor, a Horde character on Kazakh, an Alliance character on Silvermoon, and so on, until we had a character made on all 25 of the top realms. Once we did that, we needed to try and work out, well, we need some pets, right? We need to get our hands on a bunch of pets, because we can't sell anything on these realms until we've actually got some pets. So we had to go shopping. Going shopping got very expensive very quickly. There's only 2 realms where I've got a sizable amount of gold. So, of course, I was limited to where I could actually buy my pets. Luckily for me, one of those was Taran Mill, the goblin character that you saw at the beginning of this video, aptly named No Long Boy. Long-time followers of the channel will understand why. This fella is our main buying character. So here's a bit of a heads up for you. If you're on Taran Mill and you have a bunch of cheap pets, get them listed, because there's a very strong chance I might be buying them off you. Taran Mill's a realm where I've got a reasonable amount of gold, and I'm using this realm as to it's a big population realm that usually has some cheap deals anyway. But I'm using this realm, at least at the moment, to buy some cheap stuff to send it out to other realms, to try and get the wheels turning, get the ball rolling. So I've been buying a bunch of pets on here, learning them, getting them in my sort of pet journal, and then loading them off onto other realms. Tracking this has proved to be a little bit more difficult than I first assessed. This is where we needed to take a little bit of a switch over to, let me get the right website up, this is where we started using Trade School Master. Trade School Master is going to be very powerful for this. There is a website called ledger.tradeschoolmaster.com where you can log in with your account, and it shows you a whole bunch of stuff. It shows you all of your different groups, and you can filter stuff. You may have seen other YouTube creators use this. And as you can see so far, I'm actually massively in the hole. Now, I know I started this video by saying my goal was to make 10 million gold profit. That's what I want to try and achieve with this. But of course, let's just consider you set up in the real world, you set up a bunch of shops to sell a bunch of stuff to hopefully make a bunch of profit. Guess what? Setting up shops on 25 different servers got quite expensive quite quickly. But I have already started to see some sales from this process. You'll see this screen a lot more going forward, and I will be showcasing this to highlight some of the things that we've bought and sold at some point. We'll go through this in a lot more detail, but so far, I'm actually about 3.5 million gold in the hole. I've bought nearly 1,000 pets in total so far. But we have started to see some sales. I've bought nearly 1,000 pets. I'm already 218 sales in. And in most cases, I've been able to make a bit of a profit on the ones that I have already sold. Now, like I said, in future videos, we'll dive into this a little bit deeper to exactly what the sales numbers are, because I'm sure there's lots of information here that can be helpful to you guys. Which pets are sort of selling well, which pets are in demand, this sort of thing. I can quite easily say at this point the Zereth Mortis pets are a big win for me so far. I've had very good success buying some of these Zereth Mortis pets and selling them already. Archetype of Renewal, Archetype of Motion, Archetype of Serenity, Archetype of Animation. These are the pets that people are trying to get their hands on at the moment because they're kind of the fresh there, they're the current content thing. But there are a few others filtered in here as well. We won't spend too much time on this screen for this video because it's still very early days. I've literally been doing this maybe 2 weeks at this point. So, if this sort of interests you, which I hope it might intrigue some of you at the very least, make sure you hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for some more details on this. I didn't want to make this video too long. This is more of an introduction to what we're doing. But this will be the first in a little mini-series. We'll go through and I'll try and break down some of the add-ons that we use, some of the tools that we're using, such as the Trade School Master website to try and track this. And like I said, for those that are good enough to help support me and help the channel grow, I will make sure I can repay that favour as much as possible by giving you guys the goodies you need to try and replicate this if you wish. But I'll leave it there for today, boys and girls. This is only the first episode of Project Pet. Stay tuned, there'll be more to come in the future. We can follow the track of this and see if we can actually take that. Well, for starters, it may take a little while for me to recuperate this 3.5 million, and unfortunately I don't expect the spending to slow down anytime soon. I would probably suspect I will spend somewhere in the region of about 10 million gold before I start to see enough pets on enough realms to actually start seeing consistent sales. Very much like the transmog market. You've got to get a bunch of inventory to begin with. Now, you could go out there and farm that inventory yourself, or you could use the gold you already have, which is the road that I took, to buy a bunch of stuff that you feel is cheap and may go up in value, to then, you know, set yourself a target to sell it all for more than you paid. And then we win, right? That's the plan. If you enjoy this little mini-series, boys and girls, make sure to give this video a like. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more on this little adventure. And until next time, have fun. Peace.